And welcome into episode 4 of Meet the Rams Home Run Alley. I'm your host, James Trietley, and today we are joined by Rams baseball hitting coach, Miles Durham. Miles, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for joining us today. So let's kind of just get right into it and talk about this season and kind of where we're at. We're in that second half stretch. You know, what are your overall thoughts going into this season?
So far, offensively, we've been very productive. We've been able to find ways to win close games, and then when we're clicking, we put some runs up and handled them pretty easily.
And that's kind of much to your credit, being on the hitting coach. That's your forte. Now, as the hitting coach, you know, kind of give us a little bit on what some of the things are that y'all are working on an everyday basis to go into each game and be successful.
So for me, I like to talk to them about more so approach. I'm not really a swing doctor. I can be, but I like to focus on the approach, what they're thinking, what they're looking at, as opposed to trying to fix their swings every time they take a bad one.
So that's more of a mental and physical approach. It's kind of a combination of both?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of both. Usually a bad swing starts out because of a bad pitch they swung at or a different mindset approach that they had, which caused the bad swing as opposed to just fixing the swing.
Yeah, so that 0-1 swing and miss can really change the whole complexion of an at-bat.
Correct.
So to single one player out offensively from this past weekend, Jose Sosa on Friday had an incredible game, 2 plate appearances, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, one of them a grand slam. Now, what can you talk about as his hitting coach for his recent success with this team?
So recently with him, he went through a little stretch where he wasn't hitting the ball very hard. So we made a few adjustments to free up his hands, to allow him to let the barrel work, and he got 2 good pitches and didn't miss them and hit him over the fence.
Yeah, he seems to be, whenever he comes up to the plate, he's an extra base machine, much like Brandon Rincones, who, you know, we've seen him kind of lead the team in extra base hits. So those 2 guys really clicking well on the offensive side.
Yeah, they swung the bat very well this past weekend. Again, it's all about with them is getting the right pitch and putting a good swing on it, and the conditions helped us out last weekend too, with the wind blowing out 25 miles an hour.
Absolutely. So jumping on over to you, Miles, you know, you spent some time in the minor league system, both as a player and a coach with the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. Talk about some of the things that you brought from that experience here to Texas Wesleyan.
So the time I spent there, it basically taught me the game of baseball. When you're playing 140 plus games a year, you kind of have to stay even keel. You can't get too high and too low, and I feel like that's the main thing I bring to the dugout and to the players, is trying to keep them level and not get too high when they're good, because it's going to happen where they're going to go through struggles, and they need to stay even keel to be able to handle both of those.
Now here, you know, being at Texas Wesleyan, coaching, you're a hometown guy. You grew up in Fort Worth, Texas. You went on to play for the Pirates, but now you're back here coaching. What does that mean to you personally to coach here in Fort Worth?
It's great because I got my family here. My mom actually graduated from here, so it's pretty cool to be able to be a hometown guy and kind of helping these guys. They ask me where should I go eat and what things can I do around here, and living here for 30 plus years, I can have all the insight for them.
Right. So if they were to ask you where to go eat, where's your spot around here?
For me, I like Esperanza's.
Okay.
It's a good breakfast and lunch spot, Mexican food.
Okay.
But there's a lot of places in Fort Worth.
If you had to choose barbecue, because of course Fort Worth is a barbecue capital of Texas now, where would you have to pick?
So if you're wanting ribs, I go to Angelo's.
Okay.
And then if you're just wanting a barbecue sandwich, Railhead's tough to beat.
Yeah, that's a Fort Worth staple right there. So staying on you one more time, you know, we talk about you're the hitting coach. You're also the third base coach. So you see these guys this past weekend, we saw them crossing home a lot. So they saw you a good amount of times. You're also the high school recruiting coordinator for Texas Wesleyan. If you could, go ahead and talk about the process of what that is talking to those young guys.
Yeah, so it's just kind of getting a feel of what they want to do. I don't want to force their hand on decisions of what they're going to do for the rest of their life, because this starts the maturing of what they're going to decide to do as they get older and after they get done with baseball. So it's more of trying to get a feel of what they want to do and giving them the honest feedback of what they're going to get if they come here.
So lastly, we'll go ahead and end on this. You have about 20 games left in the season. The game's not perfect. We have perfect games, but of course, those are not even perfect themselves. What are some of the things y'all are looking to improve on the offensive side and just overall?
Overall, it's just being consistent, having a 1 through 9, being able to produce runs. We're going to start playing some tougher conference games, and they're not going to be 19-6 games. We're going to have to find ways to win close ones and try to score more runs than they do.
Well, there you go. A road trip coming up for Texas Wesleyan this weekend, but they come back home the following weekend. You can catch them and more at Sycamore Park in Fort Worth, Texas. For Miles Durham, I'm James Trietley. Thanks for joining us on Meet the Rams Home Run Alley. We'll see you next time.